a year ago. Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast, where our goal is to help bring hope, healing, and peace by sharing our experiences and inspiring you to own your life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Own Your Life podcast. Today, we're going to be talking all about hope. So part of what we are all about is hope, healing, and peace that we want to bring to many people because we've experienced it ourselves and are still experiencing it. That is our goal, is to bring hope, healing, peace to people. And so we thought today that we would talk about hope, and in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing healing and peace as follows. So I want to read you this off of our Instagram account that we posted last May 13th. We posted this. So I just think it's really appropriate for right now, still very much relevant. So here it is. We desperately need people who have hope. And that was said by Britt Barron. That was a quote from her. And then after that, we put, hope has gotten us through a lot of seasons in our life. And sometimes it was the only thing we could focus on. The pastor of our church said that hope is a focus, not a feeling. We don't have to know what's going to happen in the future, but we have to hope for a better tomorrow and know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, especially in these times. Owning your life begins with focusing on hope and taking action to make it a reality. It can be the smallest thing or something much larger. Matt and I know that our best days are not behind us and that this pandemic is going to make us all stronger, even if we can't see or feel it right now, because we have hope. Don't lose hope, especially now. We need it more than ever. So we did that it's going on, a year ago that we wrote that, and it's still super relevant for today. And I feel like a lot of people have lost hope, whether it's been because of the pandemic, maybe you lost your job, maybe it's because of the political stuff that's going on in our country, anything like that you've lost hope. And one of the most important things to never lose is hope, because I feel like sometimes that's the only thing that you can hang on to. And it's definitely gotten us through a lot of tough seasons where if we didn't have hope, I don't know if we would still be here right now.
Yeah, there's so many different seasons that we've been through where we've had up seasons and down seasons. And I think the main thing with that is that understand that your highs aren't as high as what they seem, and your lows are not as low as what they seem. Life is ever changing, and it's a roller coaster ride. Sometimes all you have to do is hang on long enough to really survive it. And at the end of the day, all you need is hope and strength. Hope that it'll all get better, and strength to hold on long enough until it does. And for me, there's been many seasons where it just seemed like I was just barely hanging on by just straight fingertips. I was just clenching on as hard as I could, and I knew that it was all gonna fall down, or if it was gonna fall down, I wanted to make sure that I held on long enough to see if there was something good that could come out of it too. And in seasons in your life, the downs are going to seem like they're never going to come back again. It seems like you're never going to come back up. But everything does turn around, and everything does work out. You just have to be able to hold on long enough to see that happen. And good things come from that, whether it's family, whether it's, prosperity and with money or whatever it is that you're, maybe looking for at that season. Because I think that in times with each individual season you're in, especially with the roller coaster ride that we're all on, some seasons you want peace. Some seasons you want money. Some seasons you want strength. Some seasons you want to not have that depression. It just depends on where you're at in your life. We all want something, and we all know that that's going to happen eventually. But how long can you hold on to that hope to turn that around for you?
Yeah, that's awesome that you said that, because I feel like, like we said earlier, that sometimes it's the only thing that you have is hope. And I've heard people say hope is not a strategy. And I would disagree with that sometimes, because I feel like sometimes that's all you got. All you have is hope, and you can make hope an action. You don't have to just make it some sort of a feeling. You can make it an action that you're hoping, because you can turn that hope into real action that you're doing for you, because you can always make your situation better, whether you believe so or not. It's really finding even the littlest thing that you can do to make it better, that can give you hope. So I feel like that's really important, that hope can be part of your strategy in surviving hard times, no matter what it is that you're going through. And obviously this applies for your entire life, not just because we, had a crazy year last year, but I think hope is always going to be relevant in your life, that no matter what's going on, that never get rid of it, never lose hope.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there has been multiple seasons where, that's all we've had. And, hope is the only thing stronger than fear. You can't run around and be scared of every little thing that's going to happen. There's so many different things that happened in 2020 that there was a ton of fear. You could get consumed by fear 24/7 in 2020. That was the year of fear in my mind. But the people that succeeded through 2020 are the ones that clung to their hope, and they let their hope be stronger than their fear. And I think that when you can really look at it as like you said, a strategic plan, if you will, it's going to change everything in how you look at your whole life. Because I think that, you can always bend towards fear, and that's just a natural way that most people, think regardless. But when you can naturally bend towards hope, that the hope is going to pull you through it and it's going to be stronger than your fears that you have currently running through your mind, then a lot of things can change with that.
With that as well, that hope needs to be your mindset. So that can be something that's really a mindset switch. Instead of defaulting to fear, like Matt said, it's defaulting to hope. And you can do that over time. We believe in you. We're not perfect. We don't always default to hope, but we work on it. We work on it all the time because we don't want our immediate response to anything that goes wrong to be fear. Fear is very contagious, as we've all seen, especially with 2020. I feel like and I'm sorry if that you're in broadcasting and journalism, but I feel like all the news is fear mongering. They just want you to be so scared so that you keep coming back to them and get more. It's almost like a drug. Like you can be addicted to fear, that you just need more and more and more. And I got to worry about this and that, and you can drive yourself insane just by having to get another hit of fear. And I want you guys to break your addiction of fear if you have that, because you can. You don't have to succumb to what the media says or what social media says, that you can have hope and faith. And if you have a religion, I would highly suggest, tapping into God, because for us, like that's our biggest hope is God, is Jesus, and that he always sees us through no matter what. That we've had some really, really hard times and we've had really good times, but we've had that faith and hope in Jesus the entire time during those situations.
Yeah, I mean, talking about faith as far as that's concerned, I mean, faith, gives us strength, grace gives us power, and hope gives us the anchor to kind of guide us through that and stay steady and steadfast in that. So when you can kind of look at it in those three ways, you're always going to need some type of faith to get through something, no matter what it is. And no matter what your religion is, it doesn't matter. You got faith in something. And you're always going to have some grace. Without grace, a lot of us would not be here, and a lot of us wouldn't have the amazing relationships we have, and a lot of us wouldn't have the friends we have without a lot of grace, right? And then, with hope, and like we've been talking about this whole time, is that you really have to figure out, what you want to hope for. Because I think sometimes some of the best things that didn't happen to us are the things that we wish for the most, right? And I think that, and then later on, you're like, man, I'm glad that didn't happen. And a lot of times, some of the stuff that is the best things that we're hoping for are right in front of us. Those are our greatest treasures, and we're just missing out on collecting a lot of these treasures that are given to us every single day. And we need to stay present so we can stay focused and stay in that hope mindset and not have that natural bent to fear.
One really important thing that John Maxwell says is leaders are dealers in hope. And you might not think you are a leader, but you are. Even if you don't run a big corporation or a small group or anything like that, you are still a leader in your household, whether it's for your kids or for your spouse. And that leaders need to be dealers in hope, because if there's no leadership giving anybody hope, then I feel like we can all get lost pretty easily. And that it's very important that, we see all of us as leaders, because you are a leader in some way or another. And to have that hope is going to be able to shine a light for somebody else that might be in a dark place, to where, you can uplift other people. And I think, that's just a really important thing for us to make sure that we're also setting that example for other people, because you never know, with like the smallest thing that you do can give somebody else hope where they wouldn't have gotten somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think that's a great self-assessment, in a lot of different areas. What type of leader are you? Are you a leader that deals in hope, or are you a leader that deals in fear? I think that's a valid question for a lot of leaders out there. I've seen it both ways. I've had a boss that was definitely a dealer in fear, and, people just followed him just because of his position, but everybody really didn't like him at all. There was not one person in the building that liked him. And then I had another leader that was, strong, and he was very strong-minded and stubborn in a lot of ways, but he definitely, was the opposite. So he dealt in hope, and he dealt in peace, and just really, he spoke softly and carried a big stick, if you will. So, and I think that that's a part of it, is that what type of leader are you? What type of leader do you want to follow? And are you, just because you may not be in a leadership position today doesn't mean that people aren't looking to you to be a leader. And a lot of people are like, well, I'll read that book, or I'll start listening to podcasts, or I'll start doing this and that, and so on and so forth when I become a leader. No, you need to start becoming a leader today for who you are today, because you'll never get the position if it does open up if you're not the person that they're looking for at that time. So what are you doing currently that can give you the strength to move forward? Because you need to be starting to prepare for what is next, not what is currently going on. Because what's currently going on right now is you building you so you can take that next step in your life.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because I feel like your legacy is so important. And I know we've said this in multiple podcasts, that what do you want to be, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want people to think of you, when you're around them and whatnot, as far as, your kids? What do you want your kids to see? What kind of example do you want to set for other people? And not that we should be people pleasing. I'm not saying that at all. But what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Whether it's, for your kids or for your company or whatever your situation is. I think that, that's something that we need to think about, that I think some people just put in the back of their minds, like, oh yeah, I'll get to that sometime, whatever. That, no, we need to think about it now. Like Matt said, you need to be prepared to be a leader now and not in the future, that you need to do the work now to do that. And having hope and being a dealer in hope is definitely a huge part of that, especially for your kids. Your kids are watching everything that you do, whether you know that or not. They're watching and listening to you, even if you think that, one thing goes in the ear and out the other. They're paying attention. So it's very important that you set that example that you want, because how do you want to be remembered? Do you want to talk to your kid in 20 years and they said, oh, Mom, when we were going through that, I don't know if you handled that the best way, or this is what I saw. If they're going to be that honest with you, that's, something that you need to think about, what kind of leader, because you are one, what kind of leader do you want to be?
Yeah. And I think that the biggest thing with leadership is learning how to lead yourself first. You have to learn how to lead yourself first before you can lead anybody else. And that's a harsh truth. If you're constantly not leading yourself properly, you're never going to become the leader you really want to become. Just straight up, as far as that's concerned. And I think that this is a valid thing for this podcast, and it's a great acronym that we've kind of come across. And it is hold on, pain ends. So that's the part of hope. I think that's a great acronym for this, because through 2020, going into 2021, we needed to hold on long enough for this whole pandemic to end, for this whole fear to end, for this whole racism, thing being pushed, and all that stuff. I mean, all of it is, we needed to hold on long enough for that to end. And it is ending. It's coming to an end. I mean, make no mistake. It's all coming to an end, and we need to be ready for that. And you need to be looking at who you became through this time and seeing if you've grown, seeing how you look at things differently. Are you looking at life through a different lens, or are you still looking at it from the same lens you had in 2019? Because 2019 is gone, and so is 2020. What are you going to do next? Are you going to look at it from the fact of, did I grow? Did I not grow? Did I become the leader I wanted to become? Did I really follow through with everything I wanted to follow through with? What did it look like? And are you weathering your storm right now? Because the storm will end no matter what storm you're going through. And we've always kind of clung to this a little bit as far as that's concerned, is that, we always see people pull off on the interstate when it rains really hard. Well, you're just waiting for the storm to pass. You're not actually driving through the storm. You need to get through the storm faster. No matter whether it's 5 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, no matter how fast it is, you still need to keep moving. You can't stop in the middle of a storm, or the storm will consume you. And I think that when you know that, you can never lose hope, and storms make people stronger, and they never last forever. And that's something you have to cling to all the time, because everything you're going through is only going to make you stronger, and the storm that you're going through isn't going to last forever.
Yeah, I love that you said that. I love that analogy with the storm, because I find myself when that happens, yelling as if the other cars can actually hear me, keep going. Why are you stopping? Just keep going. You'll drive out of the storm, if you don't stop. And I've seen that happen where, I'm driving through a storm and 10 minutes later it's gone. But the 10 minutes behind me is still storming, and those people are still stuck under the underpass or wherever they pulled off, that they're still in that storm. And if they had just driven just a little bit longer, they would have been out of it. And I love that analogy so much. I feel like I refer to it a lot, that it's important for us to keep going. And another thing that you had said, the storm is going to make you stronger. And I would add something to that probably it makes you stronger if you're looking for that, if you are taking advantage of the situation, and what can you learn from, what can you, grow out of that situation, that's going to make you a lot stronger as well. Because like we've said before, experience is not the same as wisdom. So you might have been through 20 crazy storms in your life, but if you're not learning anything out of those, are you actually getting stronger or not? And are you gaining the wisdom that maybe you could be from that? And I would also add that, looking back at 2020, through all the things that we've gone through, I'm sure we've all been through a bunch of storms just with that year alone. Where were the areas that you had hope? I think it's important to reflect on that and think, okay, I had hope then. I didn't know what was going to happen, and God saw us through. We got through that, and here we are in 2021. How can I apply, that hope mindset to today? I just think that's important, that we can learn from the past to, make the future even better.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much things with wisdom, with all of that. I mean, I like the fact that you said that, because sometimes we go through something and we think we gained wisdom and we didn't. Whether it's through communication, whether it's through whatever avenue you wanted to grow in, sometimes you think you've mastered something and something completely different comes up and you're like, wow, I really wasn't prepared for that at all, and I thought I was really prepared. I know that there's been times where multiple things have come up, especially with Cam or whatever, and I thought I had the wisdom or the communication skills to conquer that, to be better with that situation, especially with him, and I wasn't. Now I have hope that I still am going to be able to communicate it properly, and we can obviously work through whatever challenge it is. But at the same time, sometimes with wisdom, you think you're a lot farther than what you really are. And I know that you can definitely attest to that as well with a lot of different areas. Yep. So with all of that being said, we just want to make sure that we end here with a kind of a positive thing and kind of something a little bit different. But may your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears. because every single choice you make is going to reflect either a hope that you have or a fear that you have. And in this season, that fear has been dealt to you. Make sure that you're always choosing hope over fear, because at the end of the day, you're going to have to choose one way or the other. And it's your choices you make daily that are going to be the hopes that you come out with on the other side.
I love that. That was awesome. And as always, please share this message, subscribe, rate, and review us. And until next time, own your life, because your life is your responsibility. Thank you all for listening. If this added value to you, please click subscribe and rate and review us. You can also find us at Own Your Life Co. on Instagram and Facebook, and ownyourlifeco.com. And as always, own your life, because your life is your responsibility.